What's up, everybody? We're back.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back to a Metalhead's Journey.
Happy
We're
4th of
continuing our
fucking July.
trip. Yeah, dude, happy 4th of July. Good call. Hey, so we're continuing our journey down the top 50 metal albums list of all time. We have made it to number 8. We are again with the guys from Iron Maiden, and this album is called Powerslave. And I think general consensus based on the two previous albums we had from Iron Maiden, which we had the self-titled, and then we had Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, which I know Jason didn't like Seventh Son, but everybody else had it pretty highly regarded. I think generally we were all pretty excited coming into this record. Adrian, wouldn't you agree?
Hell yeah. Very excited. Especially coming off of Seventh Son and Painkiller, right? You would think this top 10, it's a top 10 songs or album, so it would like blow our fucking tits off, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just, were we too amped up for it? Were we expecting like solid gold, and then it turns out that it was, wasn't like what we hoped it would be? I don't know.
That's definitely the case for me. Just straight up.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, we'll hit some not news here. Stupid. We'll hit some history of the band, and then we'll get into the metal rundown here. So, like I said, we got the number 8 album of all time from Iron Maiden. This is Powerslave. Iron Maiden, formed in 1975, is an English metal band from Leighton, East London. The band was formed by bassist and primary songwriter Steve Harris. The lineup for most of the band's history has consisted of Steve Harris on bass, Bruce Dickinson on vocals, Nico McBrain on drums, Dave Murray and Adrian Smith, and Yannick Gers on guitars. Pioneers of the new wave of British heavy metal, the band is considered a major influence to many of today's most popular metal bands. The band has sold over 130 million records. They've released 17 studio albums, including 2021's Senjutsu. They've won 1 Grammy and are nominated for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2023, which I think they recently were actually bumped out of that. I don't think they made it to the finals. Ooh. I think. Powerslave, released in 1984, is the band's 5th studio album. The album peaked at number 21 on the Billboard charts. The album is notable as it's the first album to actually feature the same personnel as their previous album. And the lineup for this album would actually remain for the next 2 albums. So the lineup here features Bruce Dickinson on vocals, Dave Murray and Adrian Smith on guitars, Steve Harris on bass, and Nico McBrain on drums. The album produced 2 singles, Aces High and 2 Minutes to Midnight. All right.
Is that a Kiss cover?
That's right.
Had a little High Speed Dirt kind of a sound to it, didn't it?
Yeah. I thought that was a pretty good song. Let's jump into musicianship here for the album. Jason, you want to go first?
I'm gonna probably say a lot of stupid things over the course of this review, because I'm also gonna.
So good. It's a normal show. That's good.
I'm gonna be conflicting my own statements throughout. I just want everybody to understand that I really wanted to like this album.
Oh, that's a precursor.
And so, to be clear, before Jason shits all over this record, Jason hated Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. He hated it. Like the three of us thought it was like a landmark album, and Jason hated the shit out of it. So just so you know where he's at.
And I've always wanted to like Iron Maiden. I always thought that they had some of the coolest fucking album covers. I always wanted to be an Iron Maiden fan. So coming into this one, I gave myself a clean slate. Here we go. Let's do this. Musicianship, I thought across the board was pretty good. I don't have any problems with the drums. Don't have any problem with the guitar work. The bass player is a freak.
Steve Harris.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Just a monster. I'm not a fan of the vocal style so much, but if we're just talking about musicianship itself, it's fine. The musicianship is fine.
I'm gonna go right there with you, Jason. I think this album is mid as hell. I think there's a couple of standout songs and a couple of standout riffs, but largely I feel like a lot of this album is recycled. Like, look, when you get into the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, when you get into, I forget whatever the time frame of that song was, but somewhere in the middle of it, dude, they go right into Run for the Hills. They totally rip off that song from 2 albums before this. And then even on the same album, you have Aces High, right, which is a great song. And then on the 4th track, you have Flash of the Blade. They straight up hijacked the riff from Aces High on Flash of the Blade. Like, I'm confused as to why this album belongs so high on the list. I don't get it. Look, it's not bad. It's not offensive, as Adrian would say, in any way. But it just feels, compared to Seventh Son, this feels like a massive downgrade. But for me, Steve Harris continues to be the MVP of the band. And look, I am not a bass fan. I think most music is better without bass. But man, like, that dude he's got the special sauce. Like, his playing is unbelievable, and it sounds great. And it doesn't sound like it's just wedged in just for the sake of the fact that he's the leader of the band. Like, it's really well written with the rest of the music. So, musically, I would say that's Steve Harris is still the standout for me amongst all of their albums.
Yeah. Can I jump in here real quick, Adrian? So, musicianship for me, man, I hate to do this, but I want to agree with you, Josh, on some aspects of what you said. I do think that this record is relatively mid in terms of what we've heard from Iron Maiden before, right? And this record just kind of like, as it's going on and as I'm listening to it, I kind of really had to force myself to get through it several times. And I think that is largely to do, let's just focus on musicianship here. I think musically it's fine. It does all the things that you expect from a Maiden album to do. But, the guitars are good. Every instrument individually is fine. But there was never any, I was never wowed. I don't know if any of you three were ever truly wowed by any one song.
To piggyback off exactly what you're saying, and maybe this is not fair to do this, but whenever you hear any of the bridges, interludes, solos, you're like, this is interesting, and none of it holds a candle to anything that was on Painkiller.
And that's exactly what I was going to reference. Is I think this album has the unfortunate placement of following Painkiller, because look, in any other situation, the Iron Maiden records have been better than the Priest records. But, Painkiller, as we just talked about last week, was unbelievable. Great album. One of the best ever. And I think this Iron Maiden record it's just unfortunate that it has to follow that record. Because, look, unfortunately, it's just going to be a direct comparison. And, like, apples to apples, I think Painkiller blows this out of the water.
Yeah. Like I said, for me, just wrapping up musicianship, I think musically this record does everything that you want it to do in terms of how well they're playing their instruments. But for me, and again, I know this is going to be sacrilege, outside of 2 or 3 songs, I think the songwriting of this record feels like, at this point in their career, I felt like they were running out of ideas outside of a handful of songs. That's just me.
And this is early in their career. This is before Seventh Son.
Yeah. So I don't know. I agree with Josh. I'm not sure how this ended up so high. Maybe it's on the back of a few songs. But Adrian, what's your take on that?
I'm not going to say anything y'all didn't already cover. Steve Harris is the MVP for sure. There's no standout moments for me though from any of the musicians on this album. Like nothing makes me want to listen to this album again. Well, moving on over into entertainment, it's a rough 50 minutes. Like it really is. And my first listen through, I pegged it as a lazy effort on their part. And hey, I get it. People love this album and it's highly regarded. But again, you mentioned there's some recycled shit, and just their last two albums that we reviewed, they got me right away, and this one was fucking brutal. One other thing that I noticed is the freaking the what is it called? The song order,
The track listing.
like
Yeah.
I just the track listing. Thank you. I just thought it's just so odd. Like
Yeah,
there's an
why-
instrumental that's
Yeah, I was gonna say, why do you have a shitty instrumental on the record? But
Yeah.
two, why do you put it in the 3 spot? Like, what are you doing?
that's like you start a record off with the instrumental, goddamn it, or it's the second to last song or the last song. But unfortunately, just in general to me, this track listing is just odd, and entertainment wise, there's nothing here that makes me like or love this album at all. I mean, there's nothing offensive going on here, but I had high hopes, and this was just a big fucking letdown to me. And there are some highs for sure, but mainly for me, there's just lows, and they're fucking low for me on this album, just straight up.
Want me to jump in?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, does anybody have anything different for entertainment value, or do we just want to skip ahead in the top tracks?
I'm
Go ahead.
going to elaborate just a little bit on the entertainment value for me. And this is where I say, like, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit. I don't hate this album. For me, I liked this album better than the other Maiden album, The Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I know. Hear me out. Here's my problem with this album.
I don't want to hear you out, actually.
I actually want to like this album. When I listen to the songs, and this is, you can flame me in the comments if you want, but I hear songs that I feel like I would like if somebody else was playing it. There's two problems that I have with this album that make the entertainment value just shit. One, I just cannot stand the style of vocals that we get on every other word being the vibrato style. And I look, I'll get over it.
You mean you don't like good vocals? That's good to know. Okay.
The other part is as good as the bass player is, because he is the MVP.
Steve Harris.
I hate the tone on this album. All I hear is the bass track. I hear it on every single song. I hear every single strum.
Jason, he's the guy who runs the band.
I know, but the tone of it, I don't like the tone. I like it to give it power underneath the main riffs, and all I hear is his playing style. All I hear is the bass line. I hear the bass line over the drums sometimes. I hear it over the vocals sometimes. I hear it over the guitarist. And now,
Yeah, he runs the band.
I'm not going to pretend that I can play anything that this guy is playing on this album. He's killing it. Like he is.
Because we know you're not allowed to criticize anything that you can't do. But
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
Correct.
So we've been told on the metalhead's journey.
Correct. So all I'm saying is that the entertainment value for me, I want it to be more because there are aspects of the songs that I like, but I cannot hear anything else but the bass line and the on every other word.
well, Bruce Dickinson is an infinitely better vocalist than you're giving him credit for. So
Let's say, give me a break
I'm
with
not
that
saying
crap.
He's not. I just hate
Dave,
it.
take us into top tracks.
Okay, well, just the last thing, I just want to piggyback on something Adrian said that I completely agree with, and I even tested this to confirm. I'm not going to adjust my score, but the track listing, and I know people are going to make fun of me in the comments or whatever. That's fine. I'm used to it at this point. But if you reorder the track listing on this, you can have a better experience. 100%. I do believe that the track order absolutely affects the overall enjoyment of this record. But that's just, I just wanted to throw that out there that you can move some stuff around and kind of make this a more enjoyable experience. But getting the top tracks, Josh, I'm gonna come in and I flip-flopped, but I'm gonna go ahead and flop instead of flip. And I'm going to give Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner my number 3. That is a good song. The reason why it's number 3 is because by the time I get to this song, I want to turn the record off. Make fun of me in the comments or whatever.
That song has, look, the first 3 minutes of that song is a good song. Unfortunately, it's got like 11 more minutes to go along with it.
Okay, that's incorrect. But I like the song. I like the song in a vacuum. If I was gonna just pick a song to listen to off this record, that would be one of them, right? My number 2 is Aces High. Great opening track. That track gave me promise and hope for this record when I heard it. I was like, oh shit, here we go. Maiden, baby, let's do it. And then my hope was dashed pretty much instantly after that. Number 1, and I think it's number 1 by a country mile, is Powerslave, the title track. I think it's 100% the real song off this record that I would revisit regularly, if I was going to.
Oh, I'll
Chase.
pop in.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So number 3 for me is going to be Flash of the Blade. Hey, man, I like that song. Number 2 is going to be Aces High. And great song. I've always loved that song. And number 1 for me is going to be Powerslave. I think it's the best song on the album, easily. I do have 2 lowlights that I got to get to. Number 1 is going to be Lost for Words. Look, I love instrumental tracks, but this is just a pile of shit. I mean, it's just
Why don't
4.5
you just say
minutes
how you really feel?
of nothing. Like it does nothing for the song after, it does nothing for the song before. It just does not belong on this fucking album. It's just so dumb that it exists. And my other one is Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. What a long, boring pile of shit.
Okay, I'll go next. Number 3, Aces High.
Yeah.
Number 2, The Duelist.
Hmm.
And number 1, and it's really not close. It's Powerslave.
Oh yeah.
The galloping riff style, love it. It's still not going to make my favorites list, but it's the closest on this list.
That's
Oh.
interesting that Powerslave was so high on your guys' list. Like, for me, it was a very, very last minute addition to my top 3. I did have, for the longest time, Flash of the Blade in my 3 spot. But I did put Powerslave in the 3 spot. I have Aces High in the 2 spot, and I feel personally insulted that I think, Dave, you said this song was sounding like a Kiss song, 2 minutes to midnight. This is undoubtedly the best song on the album by a mile.
No,
This
Country
song,
Mile?
you buy a goddamn country mile. This song fucking slaps.
you meant to say sucks, is what you
No.
meant to say,
No.
dude. 2 minutes
Hey,
to midnight. I'd rather listen to
2
nothing
minutes.
to midnight. Yeah, it's Kiss.
Bro,
It's a Kiss song.
that is better. That's better than anything on Painkiller.
No.
Come on, man. Come on.
All right, look, it's not, but it's very good for me. Let's jump into audio production here. This album, like many of the other Iron Maiden albums, is produced by Martin Birch. And I mean, look, I guess I can give the floor to Jason, even though he's already shit all over the audio production here. But I thought the production was good. I thought everything sounded good. I mean, it's definitely bass forward, but I mean, again, whenever Steve Harris is the guy that runs the band, I mean, that is what it is.
So,
But it didn't feel like, I don't know, because the playing is so good, it doesn't feel self-serving, in my opinion.
yeah, what I was, only thing I'll add that as far as to the production is that this is Iron Maiden production. Like on every Iron Maiden album I've heard, it's a varying version of this. So I mean, if you don't like this type of production, then you will not be satisfied with any Iron Maiden album because they basically are all this way. So for better or worse, or whatever your personal taste is.
I thought it was
And then-
ass.
This is the 2015 remaster that we listened to. I think it's fine. I didn't notice anything wrong with it personally, and maybe that's just me knowing that the bass is going to be, or the songs are going to be bass forward because it's Iron Maiden, But I thought it sounded good personally.
From a technical standpoint of how it sounded, I guess it sounded okay. But I again, the bass is so far forward. That's all I hear.
All right. Well, hey, going into the last part of the metal rundown here, this is what we call legacy. So we typically answer a couple of questions here, but this is also where we give our score for the album. And just to give you an idea how we score the albums, the normal kind of average score for an album would be a 7. That's where you see most ratings go. For us, a normal or a mid-range rating is a 5. So if we give anything a 5 or better, that's various levels of we would recommend the album. Anything 4.9 and lower is various levels of we would not recommend the album. So look, if your favorite album gets a 7, that's not a mid score. That's like a B for us. So Dave, do you want to start with the questions first before we get to the scores?
Yeah, let's get those out of the way here. So I'll start to make it easy. Does this album belong on the list? I'm gonna say no. Because there are much better representations of Iron Maiden, two of which we've heard already, and one that's coming that I feel will, of the songs that I've heard from it, will infinitely be better than this. Will I listen to more? Yes, I will listen to more because I've already heard other versions of Iron Maiden or other albums from Iron Maiden, and I enjoy them. So, who else wants to go?
What's your score, Dave?
Oh, you want me to go with my score as well? I thought we were getting the questions out of the way. But anyway, my score is a 6.2. I do think that the record is enjoyable, but not necessarily something I'm going to go back to regularly. I think there are some issues with the record in terms of consistency, at least for me, that I can't get over. So 6.2, think it's all right.
I'll come in. Would I listen to more? Obviously, I am looking forward still to the Number of the Beast. That's coming up in the number 4 spot. So I'm looking forward to that. Does it belong in the list? I don't know. I mean, if you told me it was in like the 45 to 50 range, I think it'd be a little bit more fitting in that area. But I mean, the fact that this is over certain other albums like The Blackening or like the Black Album or just some other like classic metal records that are out there, I think I would rather see those albums on this list over this one.
So is that a no?
For me, yeah, it's a maybe. It's like if it was in at 45 to 50, I would say okay, it's fine.
I'm gonna pencil you in as a no unless you say otherwise later.
Okay, so just put no. I would give this album a 6. Again, I think it has good moments, but it's just forgettable.
Yeah. So agree with you guys. This is just a meh album to me. To be fair, there are worse albums on this top 50 list. Straight up, there are, and there
were way worse albums.
Yeah, and we're sitting here. Yes, named Venom.
No.
Stroking Judas Priest, Painkiller. Dude, we hated all of Judas Priest's other albums, basically. Not hated, but we're kind of right here where we're at with this album with those,
Yeah.
So anyway, does it belong on this list? Josh, you said it, man. Like top 10, hell no. 50, yeah, I suppose I get it, but man, this album's a dud to me. My score is a 5.2.
Yeah.
Obviously I'll listen to more, but to me personally, it doesn't belong on this list.
To Josh's point, if this was like in the first batch of 5 that we had done, I'd have been like, oh, okay, Iron Maiden. Like, maybe I'd have felt different.
As far as listening to more,
Son.
yeah, like we have this expectation, but now as far as listening to more, now I'm worried. Right now, I'm not excited to get to Number of the Beast. So this album caused that problem for me. So we'll see.
For me, does it belong on the list? I don't think any of these Maiden albums have belonged on this list so far.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
So, I mean, I don't think it belongs on the top 50 list. So, I will be forced, kicking and screaming, to listen to the next one. And I was going to give this album a 6.4.
Ooh.
But today, when I was listening to it for the last time, I was sitting at a 6.4. And the last song goes off, which is the Ancient Mariner. The very next song that came on was Painkiller. Was from the Painkiller album, Hell Patrol. And I was
Ooh.
like,
So
this
I
is-
got a question. Why would it be Hell Patrol? Because it
I
should
don't
be
know.
Painkiller.
no, it was random. And I was like, this is just so much better. So much better. So I'm going to give it a 6 flat.
For
All
some
right.
reason, that's the one that comes on for me too.
Jason,
Yeah, it was
so
weird.
look, I mean, Dave, I want you to do 2 things. One, give us the cumulative score, but then 2, tell me how much higher this is than Venom.
Okay. So, I did not expect to be the highest rated with a 6.2. Overall, that's a 5.85. So just keep in mind, that is still a 5.8, or that is still a C tier general recommendation. We recognize that the record is a well-made record, just not something we prefer, basically.
I'll never listen to it again.
I will not either. But Josh, to your point, Venom scored a 1.8. So this is a full 4 points
4 points
higher.
better.
How many points were y'all wrong on that album? What I gave it.
Negative.
If
We were
could give that
4.4.
negative, yeah.
What did I give that album? A 6?
6.2. You enjoyed that record more than this one.
Yeah, I sure did.
God, you're stupid.
Wow.
Hey, if you think Jason is stupid as we do, then go ahead and give this album a like, give us a subscribe, and let us know how we're doing down there in the comments. And keep checking us out week to week, man. We're putting out weekly metal content right now. We got metal reactions, metal reviews. We got all kinds of cool shit. Hey, we got Slayer coming up next week. Rain and Blood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looking forward to that. All right. Hey, in the meantime, live long and prosper.
Take it easy, everybody.
See ya.
Later.